Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video over on the channel by the name of LeaIsChill. Today we are here once again. Today we actually have the brand new update that was announced for the game. So let's go ahead and talk about the brand new limited time recruitment banner for Juzo. So they did drop this yesterday. Unfortunately, I had other stuff I was doing. But this seems like it's going to be one of the banners that's probably more worth skipping if you aren't like a massive Juzo fan. Because the way that they'll be dropping these banners moving forward, it seems like it's going to be pretty much every single new release is going to be a limited time character. Now the banner itself doesn't say exclusive on it, but the announcement itself says limited time recruitment. So I wonder if this Juzo is intended to be put into the main banner afterwards or not, because currently this Juzo wasn't available whatsoever from the main banner, unfortunately. So we'll see after November 30th what they end up doing to split these banners between the two. Because if you look at the top, it does say exclusive inside it. And despite the fact this says LTD recruitment, which is limited time, the Juzo that says limited time recruitment inside the news does not have the exclusive thing on it on the banner itself. Regardless, I'll be skipping Juzo personally. I do think his kit is really good. He's another one of these AoE breaker type of characters where he really specializes in doing that extra damage to everybody. Let's also read up on what he actually does. So AoE damage applying death mark to them. This damage is reduced by 20% for every one extra target hit. So because it's AoE, if you were fighting 4 enemies, he would lose, would it be 80% of the damage total? It's just, it splits it among the people. Pokemon Masters EX currently has a system like this, where the characters that end up being super relevant are the ones that don't split their damage when they're doing AoEs. And so it's just like after a couple of anniversaries, that became the power creep for the game, which kind of makes sense. Deathmark is target affected by this debuff, sacrifices 12% maximum HP when casting an active skill, and the damage will not exceed 250% of the applier's attack. Deathmark expires after the effect is triggered. So it'll do a flat 12% poison damage whenever the enemy uses any skill. Unfortunately, it can't exceed 250% of the applier's attack, so in this situation, with a default Juzo at 687, you would only be able to proc that for 12% max HP if they were under like 1600 HP, for example, or 1800 HP, sorry, like 1800. So it seems like he'll be one of those characters you want to build very heavily with attack. It's kind of similar to how you would with Blood Piercer to prioritize him. Additionally, he gains an empowering mark when his turn starts. Gaining 4 empowering marks increases all your stats by 10% for 2 turns, at the cost of all your empowering marks, preventing you from gaining empowering marks for the duration. So for those 2 turns, you can't keep on stacking, but once you hit 4 of those stacks, which would be 4 turns into the battle, he'll get a flat 10% buff to all stats regardless. Bonus attack. Each time an enemy affected by Deathmark dies, you gain 1 empowering mark, instantly dealing damage to all enemies for 180% of attack. That's pretty strong, actually. So these passives will be ones you can get with the limit break materials. So this is basically a zero dupe Juzo and how good he would be. Considering that you would probably be investing in him, your limit break materials, if you were to be using him. Anyway, I like this. It makes it so that you don't need to make sure Juzo's the one that gets the kill. You're just trying to get the empowering mark on everybody, which would be 1 AoE skill, which does his 1-star do it? His 1-star does apply death mark, which is also 12% max HP. That's pretty strong. And then he would instantly do a follow-up attack, which would be an AoE of 180% with no like fall-off damage whatsoever. Not bad. And then when triggering the effect of death mark, increases your whole team's basic stats by 3%, cannot occur more than 8 times. This is a permanent stacking buff that every enemy that gets a death mark will increase your whole team's attack by 3% up to 8 times. 8 times 3, 24. 24% ain't bad. All this would be is 2 AoE cards on a battle of 4 enemies. And so honestly, it stacks up pretty fast. That's pretty strong. And then he gains an extra empowering mark by default. If he gets a power burst, which is kind of normal. Like these power burst ones usually just kind of play into the same sort of synergy that the character already uses. But that's less relevant because you can't keep on stacking empowering marks beyond the flat 4 buff that you would get. So once you hit the 4 marks of empowering, you wouldn't need to care too much for 2 turns about getting power burst or the extra stacks of empowering mark either. Interesting. He might have a really good place on a lot of teams, and because Kaneki, which is like the mainstay of a lot of these teams, is a blue unit, I feel like he's going to work really well alongside other characters like Nishiro. Corona, sorry, is what I meant. Corona's the one that's like the underbelly synergy. And other characters that kind of give those debuffs and can synergize alongside it. Very interesting. Otherwise, this is currently my last day for the 7-day goals, and it looks like I'm not going to be hitting the final, like, guaranteed any SSR fragment. Because the way that they've sorted it out, it seems like they want people to be able to beat Abyss at least once, which I can't do without having more speed characters leveled up on Crusade Battle. I haven't gotten any SSS urgent assignments, though I'm trying to try and do this by myself to be able to get it. These bonds are like way too high for me to upgrade, so I gotta try and do a bunch of exploration to be able to get this done. Though this would give me 1, 2, 3, 4 total, which would put me up to 500, which would still make me need 40 more of the currency. Because it says earned gold points, it has to go all the way up. And unfortunately, this is like hit silver, gold, and platinum, which I could only do if I were to be spending like a bunch of my diamonds on refreshes inside Arena. And this one is just get your CP up, which is just upgrading your characters, which obviously could be viable if you could progress a lot faster. I have 14 hours for this. I'm not going to be hitting the guaranteed dupe, unfortunately. And it seems like they're kind of made it so they expect you to be topping up every single day to be able to get it. Because like this silver, gold, platinum tier thing, it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense for your goals in the first week of the game either, because no one's spending that much diamonds to be able to refresh it. Regardless, we're going to go ahead and claim that. I did hit Intel level 10 today, and so I wanted to go ahead and do the advanced assignee assignment today as well. So we talked about Juzo. I wanted to talk about like the 7-day thing, and let me know if any of you guys end up getting the full reward for this. I feel like most people will be stuck around like 320 to 400. But yeah, let's just go right into our Intel level 10 and try out our main squad. I've been upgrading my characters quite a bit, so I'm at 182k right now. It's been pretty nice. Obviously, we talked about inside the video the other day how Yomo seems to be this character with a lot of really strong passives on his limit breaks. And so I have him as my back row just to be able to use these right here. So extra attack, the extra energy from, using an energy card increases the attack related stats. So yeah, extra energy equals extra attack. And I also want to get this one, which I haven't gotten to just yet. But I'm kind of using him as my back row, even though he's only an amplification synergy, because he has those passives. And it's giving extra buffs to Arima for free, basically. But yeah, we're just gonna get right to it. It shouldn't be all that hard, honestly. Most of these quests have kind of been middling in terms of difficulty so far. I'm probably just gonna try and go right for smashing Arima's face in, frankly. We're going for the double upgrade and just immediately slamming him with a Rize card. That kill? That kills. Wow. Yeah, Rize is so strong. Right now I have her with like a full attack build, but I recently got an RC cell that the stat buff on it instead of being like a percentage of attack, instead it's a flat percentage of crit damage. And I feel like for Rize in particular, that actually might work really, really well. So I want to build an RC set for her that's focused around vampirism and crit damage. She gets her crit rate by default regardless, so I'm not that worried about it for her. All right, into level 10. I think that officially lets me get the SSS assignments on the urgent section. So if I can get that, then I'll try and do that for my 7-day objective. But here, I had someone telling me that there is a way to check your stats more. Here, one moment. Okay, here we go. So Crushing Dreams, let me know inside a comment on the video literally yesterday that you can actually check the full amount of stats for the characters just by clicking the little blue arrow above weak skill unlocked. So thank you so much for that extra comment, because it does help a lot with trying to figure out what the plan is for this. You can see the crit damage is already at 202%, which is kind of crazy, but I probably will still try and focus on that. I feel like 10% crit damage still would apply a lot better to her than the RC cells I currently have, which would be a flat attack stat. Obviously, I think percentages are better in general, but I'm going to be replacing it with this right here. The crit damage 22. So I'm probably just going to do that right now and start working on it just by default. I'm just going to select everything that I currently have and just see how far I can get with it. I feel like Rize will become very powerful by trying to synergize with just that. And then I'll just give my attacking one to another character I have on my teams, probably just Yomo, honestly. Like, we'll just swap this one out straight up with the upgraded level 50 one, because this will give him his free attack. It'll give him pretty good raw stats. And I honestly do think that the percentage one, like the HP percent one, often gives the characters better stats than the other version where it's just a flat amount. It just happens that I had a lot more of the certain type early on inside the game. I recently have been getting a lot more of the actual percentages, and I feel like they work a lot better for higher tier characters. So I'll be personally working on that quite a bit. And yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at for today. So obviously Juzo gonna be absolutely incredible. I'm still looking at random exchange every single day, trying to make sure I can buy the things I'd like to. Bond tablets are gonna be a big deal for me. Otherwise, enhancement stones are my main focus, and I'm just trying to progress in the best ways I can to get a good-ass squad. And I guess today you can expect another video at 5 PM EST, where it'll be the second half of the other characters that we haven't talked about just yet. I pulled a couple more right here, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. For now, thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.